What is up, comic fan? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. It's Sunday night. That means this is At Weeks in, the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics, movies, TV shows, and so much more. But before we get into any of that, check this out. Let's go ahead and give a thank you to Big Time Collectibles for sponsoring the channel, the monthly Legion Loot giveaway. 1 week from today, the October box will be the winner of the October box will be drawn live right here on this show. And if you need anything cleaner press, hit up our friend Justin on Instagram. The links to all the channel sponsors are in the description. Don't forget to give Justin that promo code We Are Legion and take advantage of the buy two get one free offer. All right, so let's bring in the knock around guys here. We got none other than Mr. Ryan, the new guy, the Cosmic Campfire, the YouTube sensation.
I don't know about that.
If there's one thing that challenges the algorithm, it's going to be this man. He's going to.
YouTube is actively taking views away from my videos, so
That's interesting.
yeah, I've lost 4 views in the last 2 hours.
Lost actual views. I
guess the algorithm fights back is the lesson learned there.
What was the video on?
Namor.
It was the Namor one?
Yeah.
My dad's comment. I think he commented on it when you posted it to Instagram.
Oh, yeah. So
and
it looks like that Disney Marvel movie.
Yeah. Hailing from the next sector over, we got none other than Mr. Sector 2815's Paul Cook. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. I can verify for you, Ryan, that they are doing that because I got an email from them that said that I never saw your video.
That makes
sense. Perfect. So there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about. I pretty much have 2 weeks worth of comics. Me and Ryan touched on some of them last Tuesday on the little DC day. We hung out and we just kind of drug the stream out till the kids showed up and just started reviewing some books we missed. But I still haven't made it through all my books from the past 2 weeks. But if we get an opportunity, we'd love to talk about the new DC animated movie, Battle of the Super Sons, that I literally finished not 10 minutes before sitting down at this chair. I've caught up on Stargirl, the last 2 episodes, which were great. Were definitely worth touching on. Definitely. And a lot of good comics. Just a lot of good comics. There's really no weekly TV shows on Disney Plus that we normally touch on, and it's kind of a slow time right now.
Yeah, the only thing that really came out from Disney Plus was they released those animated shorts, the Tales of the Jedi. I think was the only thing that came out.
And it's the second season of it?
It's the first season.
What was it?
They did. The first one was, I've only gotten through the first one, and it was Ahsoka Tano when she was very young, and it explores, her connection to the village and wildlife and things like that. So it was, it definitely is going back and talking about different parts. I guess there's supposed to be one on Doku as well. That's supposed to go back to before we see them in any of the movies. So
I could have sworn that there was one that they came out with
last Star Wars Visions.
Yeah. That's not what?
No, yeah, these are different. These are done in the same computer animation style of the Bad Batch and the Clone Wars.
Oh God!
Whereas the Visions
I really
anime type.
I really enjoyed Clone Wars back when it came out, but then when Bad Batch came out and they tried to keep it, I'm dude, this is rough to look at.
Yeah,
that's just me. I still think Clone Wars holds up, but it's because when it was made. I don't know. Bad Batch didn't hit for me. I don't know why. But I'll probably not end up watching these, to be honest with you guys. I think I've done figured out when it comes to Star Wars, I'm just a movie guy. Give me the movies and Mandalorian, and I'm good.
It's good if you if you ever just want a morsel of Star Wars because you're 15 minutes long,
Oh, that's not bad. Dude, I love the guy who did that. What's it called? Primal on Cartoon Network with the. Say his name again.
Gandhi Tartakovsky.
That Joker made the best animated Star Wars anything I've ever seen in my life. They did 2 volumes of Clone Wars stuff.
Clone Wars, yeah.
All shorts. Oh my God, those are next level.
That's the same guy that did Samurai Jack, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that guy doesn't.
He was also one of the head. He didn't create it, but he was one of the head animators on like the golden age of Cartoon Network when you had like Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls and all that.
That makes sense. Those thick black lines around everything.
Yeah, that's why it kind of looks. Those shows look like his style, but kind of derivative of, because he was part of the team that created that. But then he went on to do like Samurai Jack. He did Primal recently, like all that
And
stuff. That's his
season 2
own.
of Primal, both on HBO Max right now.
Oh, is season 2 out? I haven't seen that. I need to watch it. He also did Hotel Transylvania.
Oh, the Adam Sandler stuff. I love those.
Is Adam Sandler in that?
He was in the first couple of movies. He wasn't in the last movie.
I know the kids like it. I've never actually sat down and watched it, but
is Disney dying? That's a really loaded question. I don't think dying. I think far from dying, but I think the quality of content is.
I think there's also just like a huge generational schism going on right now.
So I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I was just having a I fired up a chat group by just a simple statement. Like Paul pointed out, when the Peacemaker TV show was being released on physical media, and somebody else who's a Star Wars fan is like, when are they going to release any of the Disney shows on disc? And they're like, because I would really love to actually have them. I'm like, dude. And something was said, and I'm like, dude, it's just because Disney doesn't give an F about the fans. And it just absolutely started a riot of discussion. I'm like, dude, I can send you like the showrunners and the creators actually talking in interviews where they say they don't.
They especially don't care when it comes to Star Wars.
Star Wars, the Marvel, like the She-Hulk show is the best example when you have the writers, directors, and the star of the show coming out in numerous interviews stating that they decided to make a show that they knew explicitly would make the fans mad, and then make fun of the fans for being mad in the show. Like they said that was their goal. Now that the show's out, they're out on social media doing stuff like on YouTube, like how we're here on this platform like this. They're out there doing the same thing, making fun of like comic book fans and knowing that was their intention and everything. It's absolutely crazy. So I don't know who their target audience is for doing stuff like that or what their goal is, but it's reflected in the reviews and ratings of the show, because She-Hulk was the lowest reviewed show across the board and the lowest ranked show that Disney's put out from the Marvel stuff. Falcon and Winter Soldier had a lower critic score, but the audience score was the worst for She-Hulk, and when you put it all together, it was the worst and the lowest viewed.
Made everything else better.
They made
Andor is the lowest Star Wars viewed show so far.
Ooh. Yeah, and I plan on going back and watching that. See, I haven't missed any of the Star Wars shows yet. Some of them, I really love Mando. Obi-Wan, like some parts of it had me hyped, like really hyped. I think like some of the fan service stuff, because I'm a prequel hound. I love the prequels. I grew up with those. I understand that completely with the whole generational thing, But man, some of it was just bad writing on so many parts. Like, and I think you do have to. All right, so like people want to like in the She-Hulk interview stuff, they were talking about how people have a sense of entitlement to these characters. So I thought it'd be fun to come in and just take it from them and stuff like that. I'm like, that's crazy. You're acting entitled, like you're allowed to do. Like now you're entitled. How does that work? So like it gets kind of weird, like even talking about it, because people get all butthurt about it. But when you mess up the lore, like it's a problem. Like Luke Skywalker being chased around by a crazy lady with a lightsaber doesn't work. Luke doesn't know what a lightsaber is in episode 4. You'd never seen one before. Little stuff like that I think matters, especially with something like Star Wars, when the reason why it exists today is because of those fans that refuse to let it go. Even when there's not new content coming out, they keep it alive. They love it. They talk about it, and then you got to respect that fan base. You just do, in my opinion. And that's for anything, whether it be Lord of the Rings, comic book, Star Wars. You have like, who are you servicing by not respecting the people that have kept it alive for you to even make money off of anymore? That's what I don't get. That's just me though. It's just me. Whatevs. Y'all want to review some comics?
Sure.
So I got a giant stack. I don't even know what came out this week or last week.
Okay.
That was One way to
This,
innocent. It's all right.
this week was Action and Human Target and Detective and Riddler Year One and DC
Well,
versus Vampires and Sergeant Rock. Last week um, I think Young Justice and Flash and um,
Batman, Superman,
Flashpoint Beyond. I think #6 was last week.
probably.
Yeah,
Black Adam,
yeah.
Marvel Family, Nightwing,
Well, it looks like I
and
accidentally
Rogues.
skipped over last week's stack and ended up reading all of this week's books almost.
Did you read Rogues?
Yeah, I read Rogues and
Dude.
Andromeda. Both of those were
That
next
fight,
level.
man.
Yeah, I want to start with DC's Black Label. 2 series wrapped up. That was both last week, right?
Yeah. I still haven't read Andromeda though, so
Ooh,
feel free, but yeah,
well,
I don't
then
have any
it's
input.
pretty much us that read it, so we can kick it off. It's definitely worth reading for yourself because they start this off like the first quarter of it is exactly what the series is needed to completely round it off perfectly to give you the backstory that you need and of what we're dealing with and also what it's capable of, and it really just it makes the whole narrative work perfectly. I'm happy to kick that one off till next week. I want to start with Rogues then.
Yeah, let's talk about that, man.
Well, go ahead.
Let me guess. Paul didn't read this one?
I didn't. I have it, but I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
Oh,
I
man.
want to kick this one off till next week.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. These are spoiler filled. I totally.
Yeah.
I have to play by the rules.
My reading's all messed up right now too, though, so I'm a little sympathetic right now.
I mean, everything I said on Rogues is like it ends appropriately based on how the whole rest of that series went.
Okay.
Like it is, it's well done. I mean, really solid series through and through.
That covers a spoiler.
I was gonna say the cover is like a spoiler alert in itself. You don't even realize it.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. There was a long break between the two, but you jump right back in it. Joshua Williams really showed that he's made for Black Label titles. This was his first Black Label title. He knocks it out of the park. God, it's crazy to think about like where it all started to how it all ends because we end the book where we start in that bar pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, it was. I don't know. You want to spoil it?
Go ahead.
It's really worth not spoiling, Paul.
Yeah, because it's a really good issue, man, and it's the final issue. It'd be different if it was a middle issue, but it's really good, man.
It's really worth not spoiling.
All right, I will make sure I have it read by next Sunday.
Dude, normally these Black Label titles take a minute to read because they are prestige format. You get so much more story, but this one, like, it goes fast. It goes really fast. It's nonstop. Did any of y'all read the new Detective comics? Because that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Right.
We get the rest of the onslaught from the dock with the Orgums coming into town, and we have the League of Shadows having an all-out assault on them. And it's an old battle on the dock. The police are stuck in the crosshairs. Batman jumps in, and we see Ra's al Ghul. His name is Usu, USU, or something like that. His right-hand man, his bodyguard shows up, and it's just a big battle that's going on, and Batman and him end up fighting their way into the water, and Gordon pulls him out, and we see him try to Raz's right hand try to seek refuge, and it kind of shows us that the Orgums are now like seated in Gotham heavily because where he seeks refuge is a place that's supposed to be friendly to them, but it's already taken over by the Orgums, and we're starting to see some of their abilities. They're clearly meta or mystics or something. They have they're still not showing it, but one of them looks like he can turn into an animal of a sort, like a werewolf type thing. We see that the Orgums have like more money than God because they're there to reclaim their birthright, their name, to reestablish the Arkhams. And they come to this guy who's the owner of Arkham Asylum, what remains of it. And they sitting down talking to him for a minute and mention how they're there to get Arkham Asylum back pretty much. He's like, that's funny. It's not for sale though. And they hand him a note. And he's like, what's this? And he says, it's a number with a lot of zeros behind it, followed by a $sign. And the guy and them are debating for a minute, but then they explain that before he even opens it, they explain, well, we took into account you wouldn't want to sell it. But we also have the deed for that property from like hundreds of years ago. So we assumed that you would want to go to court. So we assumed that you would pick the most expensive attorney, and we factored that in. we assumed that we would end up having to get a settlement, so we factored that in, and then we tripled it. And then the guy opens it and looks at the number and just flabbergasted, and they walk out. See, we're not buying our property back. We're paying you to get out of town. Like dude,
We're buying convenience.
Yeah, these guys were wild.
Yeah, that was a whole like awesome scene, just because like it's like really spot on with like how the wealthy think. You know, they're not thinking in like dollars per hour or the cost of something.
Right.
They're literally only thinking about the cost of my time. And so for them to come in and like break it all down, like we're paying you for everything that this would cost, like all the value of it, all the legal troubles, everything, and then we're going to triple it just for the convenience of saving us the time we would be wasting doing all that.
Yeah.
And like just walk out, just like leave them with it. Like I was like, that's
it wasn't a debate. It was like, we know that we know this money was sufficient. Kick rocks.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I also, what I really liked about this issue too, it was really cool because like Batman, you know, he ends up in the water. He's kind of sinking or swimming, and mostly sinking at this point. Yeah. And so Gordon shows up with homeboy from the Coda that's been the backup story, and they pull him out of the water. And then at the same time, you see Harvey in the room with the Orgum guy as he like reveals that he's like some kind of like werewolfish type creature. And then as Harvey walks out, he like kind of folds into the backup story. So it looks like now we're going to get Harvey's story as like the backup story as he's arguing with Two-Face. And we're going to have Gordon and the Coda character brought into the forefront of like kind of the subplot of what's going on in Detective. So I thought it was really cool the way they folded all that around and moved one story to the forefront while moving the other to the background.
Yeah, it was, you know, and Raphael Albuquerque's art was tremendous. Again, just, you know, playing into the noir type theme that it has. I think he really has captured that. I too really liked everything that went on with Harvey. I miss Harvey when he has that internal external dialogue with himself, you know, and we got some of that again today. So I mean in this issue. So yeah, I thought it was, you know, Ram V is just knocking it out of the park with what he's doing here. And this is just the beginning. This is the first part of what is going to be a huge epic by the time it's done.
Yeah, we're only 4 issues in.
Like you said, the Albuquerque art, it really matches Ram V's perfectly. And Batman's entrance was like, it stood out to me. Like when he's diving down out of the Batwing and he lands and assesses the situation quickly. And he says, I've got to be fast. And you just get that shot of both arms down with the smoke bombs. I'm like, oh, that's dope. And then 2 panels later, he's already like stripped the dude of the bomb that he had. I'm like, nice.
Right?
Yeah, it played well to it. Either of y'all reading this awesome sauce?
I did.
This is fun. This is just straight up World War II Nazi zombie rock and roll.
Yeah, done by one of the legends of zombies,
Bruce Campbell himself. Yeah,
Bruce Campbell.
So
And I think I mentioned this last time. I really think, much like with Albuquerque, I think Edward Riso is born to draw zombies. I think he just, you know, he has them so that they almost look as though they're falling apart in the panel.
Mm-hmm. So this one did give us a little bit of insight to the zombies. We do see that they have some form of agency still once they've been reanimated. You know, we do see them congregating and sitting around, and they're not getting along with each other. But like when Easy Company there stumbles upon them and are looking in the window, the zombies are arguing in a bar, shooting each other, holes through each other's heads and all kinds of stuff. That was their version of a bar fight. But we have Easy Company trying to work their way back to the source of this to get some answers, and they've come across one of the higher ups, and they're about to make a move to go snatch him. But,
yeah, and it looks like next issue probably we're going to get we may finally see them taking on Hitler and Hitler's doctor.
Mm-hmm. And if they're going to be pulling that at issue 3, I wonder what really is going to transpire beyond that. You know. Because we saw that in issue 1, Hitler was like juiced up, like squeezing people's heads and stuff. So he's definitely not normal.
Yeah, and they mentioned in the book here too, that in this issue, that he's basically heavily medicated, Hitler.
Mm.
So
Oh yeah, because even the doctor was when he showed up, he was getting on to everybody for not production not being what it was because their
Right.
supply lines are dwindling down, and that one guy pulls out his own private stock of medicine to give to him to take to him.
Mm.
So I wonder what's going to happen when they run out. So Ryan, I know you're not reading that one, but I know you read this one.
Yes.
Issue number 8 from Human
Number 8,
Torment.
yeah.
That was dope.
This issue was a lot of fun.
was.
I felt like it had very little impact to the like overall story, other than
Right.
kind of like introducing another character from the JSI and all that. But all in all, like it was one of the most fun issues I think so far.
To your point about how you said it doesn't have much of an impact, Chris felt the exact same way because by the end of the issue, he rocks old Rocket Red across the face and scream, "You wasted a day."
Yeah.
You know, he felt the same exact way you just did.
Which I mean, I think that is impactful in itself. You know, like wasting a day that when you only have so many. You know, I think that was the biggest impact it had on the overall story. But like I said, it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. It was like that was the impact. That was the big emotional thing is that he's now lost a day from the precious few that he has left.
Just 4 left. So
Right.
in this issue, we have a Rocket Red show up, who apparently inside this is really good friends with Guy, and they kind of touch on the relationship of the JSI, how we're the ones that couldn't make it in the Justice League, that were laughed out of there. We bonded over that. We all have troubled pasts. We share that with each other, and we're family because of that. And that's why Rocket Red noticed that Guy wasn't around. They had a lunch set up and he didn't show up, so he checked with his sensors because he is a scientist and he does track these things. He knows that Guy hasn't left Earth. He knows that there's not a signature on the Earth of his ring, and he knows that he was fighting with Christopher Chance. So where is he? And the back and forth with them two was masterfully done. The way that he would just take him somewhere, he would wake up somewhere random. He would ask him a couple of questions, didn't get the answer he liked, so he'd knock him out, and he'd wake up somewhere else, from being in a field to a hotel to the middle of the sky. Like it was wild. And then eventually Ice set up they had like this little fake message that they created to make it sound like Guy had left a message saying that he was in a different dimension currently, kind of thing, and got Rocket Red off their case for now. But that's one more, like you said, we can check another one off the list, though.
Yeah.
Right. And so then Rocket Red felt bad and gave him a bottle of vodka.
Yeah.
For the occasion.
Exactly.
My favorite part though had to be the sky. Like whenever he wakes up in the sky, like what is that feeling, you know? That would be so different from everything else.
I've been skydiving. I wonder if it'd be like that. It'd be different, I guess, because he's not up there with a parachute.
Yeah. And he's not actively falling as he's waking up, you know?
Yeah.
Like
He didn't.
it's like something feels different. Oh.
What else y'all got? What other ones y'all got?
Oh,
Oh, that's a good one.
trying to keep up
Yeah,
with the week. Oh yeah, yeah. I was talking
I was
about that.
surprised with that.
First of all, Bill Sienkiewicz cover, incredible.
I didn't know that was Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
So,
sure that one was.
This was a creepy book. Like, it was unnerving.
It was. For a guy who's never written comics, though, as far as I know, it was a pretty stellar first outing, I thought.
Yeah, he definitely put some time, effort, and energy into this right here.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It just didn't hit at the level that I kind of needed it to stay on my like regular list. It feels like the kind of thing that's going to read really well collected. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done for what it is.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I could sit down and read multiple issues of that back to back. It's for me, it was just unnerving. It was just I was uncomfortable with Edward. You know, it was just I don't know. I was glad I was in small doses. I'm happy the amount of dialogue was kind of light, but the art is very heavy. The art is very, very heavy, and it worked well with that feeling out of place feeling that our main character has. It's kind of like Department of Truth, how that art fits the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that this is a perfect art to writer matchup here.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where it goes. You can see he's just he is a troubled individual on numerous levels.
Yeah, and I think to your point, I think the fact that you felt unnerved reading it is exactly what he was trying to do. I think you're supposed to feel unnerved about this guy. You know, he's one of those. He kind of almost reminds me of if you go back to remember, I can't think it wasn't The Office, it was the other one, the other movie that they had that was about an office, and you got that guy in the
Office
basement.
Space.
Office
Office Space,
Space. You
Yeah,
got
Milton.
the guy in the basement of busy. He's like, okay, well, but I'm gonna blow up the building.
I mean that was literally my initial review. Was like, this feels like Office Space set in Gotham.
Was it really?
Yeah. Like, what would Office Space be if it was in Gotham? It'd be something like this, like
Hmm,
just
that's
dark
funny.
and weird and unsettling.
And he has these, he has these lists. The fact that he can see numbers and everything, and he sees a 10,000 all over the place. But then he has these pieces of paper where he writes, things over and over and over and over again. And then at the end, his true feeling comes out on the very last line of the
Mhm.
page. You know, that's the unnerving part to me is, he's the first 30 lines are what he's trying to portray to the world. The last line is who he really is.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I wish the art was a little more Department of Truthy. I think that would make it stand out a little more to me, and be like more polarizing. That's one thing about Department of Truth is like, because it has like such a specific audience, it makes it that much more fun to read because you're just like, oh my god, I can't believe everybody's like missing out on this right now, you know.
Mhm.
And this, it's slightly more mainstreamish, you know, and so I think that makes it more palatable for most people. And then you got Paul Dano on it. Like, I wish there was just like something about it that really felt super, super unique that would really make me want to stick to it. But at the end of the day, I just felt like, we got like a little day in the life vignette here, and we're probably going to get that 5 more times, and then we're going to get something really cool.
Yeah,
I hope not.
the other thing that I thought was interesting is there are times when he's talking about Batman, and he actually is a big fan of Batman in this comic. You
Hmm.
know, and so I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out through the rest of the series. Because
Actually, that scene reminded me, made me think about Gotham Knight. Did y'all see that? The It came out probably around the same time as the Dark Knight, and it was like
Oh, the
an
animated
animated,
movie.
yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
DC animated movie where the three kids are like telling their stories of seeing Batman, but Batman is something different because it's being told from their perspectives, you know. And I thought that was really cool. That's what that reminded me of, was like the way he sees Batman when he's hiding behind the car and all that. I was like, that's kind of
Mhm.
cool, you know, that we get his interpretation of who Batman is and what he's doing versus like the reality of things.
That was a good little movie because it's actually set canon inside of the Nolan movie universe, and it shows you all kinds of things. Like we get Deadshot inside of that, and we also get why he doesn't have tech to keep him from being bulletproof. Because in that, remember, he had that tech that could the magnetism
Yeah,
technology deflect bullets off, but somebody caught a bullet who wasn't intended for, so
he
he'd rather
couldn't
go
have
back.
the collateral damage.
Mhm. Yeah, that was really cool. What else y'all got?
Um, Batman Beyond, The White Knight.
Go for it. I haven't read it yet. Go for it.
You haven't read it? Oh man,
Yeah,
this
I've got
was
a lot.
this one was like super Batman Beyond light. He actually, I don't even know that he appeared. I think he was in like two panels or something, maybe. It was mostly, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. You know, their interaction.
Do
Um,
they fight? Do they face off?
Sort of.
No.
I do feel like it's like slightly underwhelming in how they pull it off, because basically like the cops go to Jason Todd and Homegirl, and they're like, "Yo, like we need information." They're not really willing to give up information, and so Dick Grayson like sucker punches him, or Jason Todd sucker punches Grayson, you know, and then they kind of like get into a scuffle, and then the cops show up, and basically you have the Gotham City Police Department and what are the ones that do the stuff for Dick Grayson? Those two departments, you know, like basically Barbara and Dick like show up with their police forces, like they have guns pointed at each other. You're like, you're both police officers. What the hell? Um, but yeah, they pretty much break that up quick. But you get a lot of stuff with actually what it's more heavy on is Bruce and Harley Quinn. Because remember, the issue ended with like Jack Napier like talking to Harley. Well, that has fallout, you know.
Yeah, because Harley was talking to Bruce.
Yeah, yeah, and like, yeah, I don't want to spoil all that, but yeah, basically, like, there's a lot of stuff around that comes out, you know, and you get a lot of good conversation there. Well, like, essentially, like, Bruce feels like he was taken advantage of, but Harley reveals that she knows that it was actually Jack. Like, she understands that was Jack in his head, and so she understands that she was talking to Bruce, who was actually Jack, who was actually Bruce, you know. So, like, Bruce is feeling kind of taken advantage of, and he's like, no, like, you don't understand. And she's like, no, I get it. That was his last time. Like, he was saying goodbye to me. And so, like, you kind of, like, get into this whole thing of, like, how do you even assess that situation? Because she feels in love with Bruce, but he thinks that she's in love with Jack. But then to reveal that, like, no, we actually do have a thing going on here, makes it, like, really interesting, multiple layers. So that was really cool. And then, you know, you get some more stuff with Blight. He gets his people to, like, put fake skin on him and stuff, which is, you know, canon. But they do it. The only thing I didn't like, so in the show, like, they would put fake skin on him, right? So he's all, like, radioactive, and they put this fake skin, but it doesn't last forever. It starts to flake off. And so he'll be in, like, press conferences or meetings and stuff, and it's, like, flaking off, and you see him, like, kind of trying to, like, okay, I need to, like, get backstage sort of thing. And this, like, they put him in the fake skin, and it does wear off, but you never see that happening. Like, there's just suddenly panels where he's just, like, glowing. So, like, that was kind of weird. But overall, like, Sean Murphy's art style with Blight, with just, like, him is, like, all green with the radioactive steam and stuff coming off of him, just absolutely incredible. Some of the coolest pages in this whole series so far.
Oh, I just skipped to the end. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that.
It's a good issue, though. I really enjoyed this one.
Do you think this will be the final White Knight installment, this volume?
I mean, I haven't read any of the others, so it's hard for me to gauge where it might go from here, but I get the impression this is the end of the whole White Knight thing.
That's what I was starting to think, too, with it being the Batman Beyond stuff. That's about as far as the tape plays with the Batman universe, unless he just goes into completely
uncharted territory. But, I mean, the impression I get from reading this, though, is that's kind of the fun of it, is seeing, like, the alternate universe. And if you took out the idea that we already know how all this stuff happens and then his version of it, I feel like, I don't know, it might kind of kill the vibe. They did that
in the last volume. They did that heavily. Well, in the Curse of the White Knight, they did that heavily when Azrael visited Arkham Asylum. Like, you think these people are reoccurring characters because they've been around for 80 years? No. Yeah, you got to read that Curse of the White Knight. Azrael literally goes to Arkham Asylum and massacres every single rogues that Batman has ever had, all in one go.
Wow!
Like, permanently massacres them.
Yeah,
there's no coming back from what he did to them.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's wicked. I still think that book would come out. It would be like the first thing I'd have to read. This one. It's not bad. It's kind of losing me, to be honest with you. I think because I'm less familiar with these elements they're playing with, where it's hitting heavily for you because you like have followed and you're more closely tied to Batman Beyond.
Yeah. Yeah, see, and that's what I wonder if he went into, like, you know, non-alternative universe sort of stuff, like, would it still be interesting?
Probably not.
That's kind of the impression I get. But yeah, I definitely plan to go back and check out the rest of the White Knight stuff, because this has been really fun.
I wonder if anyone else is reading it. Hello to TM. What's going on, Trev? Pops just hopped in the chat. I've only got like one more book that I've read out of the last 2 weeks so far, and it's definitely the most excited one. The one I'm most excited to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all got any other ones you want to hit on before I get to that one.
You got anything, Paul?
I read Action. Did you guys read Action?
That's the one I'm talking about.
I think that's the last one.
That was so damn good.
You didn't read
Ryan,
Flashpoint Beyond last week?
was that we
You didn't
didn't
read
talk about
Flashpoint
it?
Beyond last week?
I might have already filed some stuff away. Yeah, that was last week. I definitely read Flashpoint Beyond.
And One Bad Day, the Penguin?
I have not read that yet. I have that right here. It's John Ridley, so like
You know how that works.
Well, I would like to hear your opinion on that one, though.
oh, I'm gonna read it. I haven't read it
I
yet.
mean, your opinion too, but I was more wondering if like Paul has a take on this
Oh,
being
yeah,
one book.
I did read it. I thought it was, of the three that have come out, I thought it was nowhere near the Riddler one, but I thought it was better than the previous one.
Did Penguin have one bad day?
Yeah, the Penguin does have a bad day. Yeah. Um,
What I'm interested to see is
but the
like in this
the
story, aren't they taking him to like the new Penguin, like the slim down Penguin that looks more like what we see in the movie stuff? Because like you got like the guy behind him right there, and in the comics they got
yeah,
like he doesn't look recognizable to this Penguin anymore now.
it's all about how he has a bad day and then he climbs back to basically be the crime lord again of Gotham City.
He got better.
But the thing that disappointed me is I don't think there was enough Batman in it. Because I think if these One Bad Days are supposed to be mirroring what happened in The Killing Joke, The Killing Joke was a Joker story, but it was a Joker Batman story as well. And this to me is more of pretty much just a straight Penguin story to me, with just a dash of Batman thrown in because his name is on the title.
You sold me. I'm in then. Cool.
Ryan's all for less Batman. Are these Black Label titles? No, these aren't Black Label.
No, they're supposed to be canon, aren't they?
That back cover looks awesome.
Yeah.
I'll definitely get to it this coming week. Excuse me, I'm so tired. This coming week is super light, so I'm hopefully going to be able to play catch up this week.
Yeah, save your money because the following week is super heavy.
I haven't looked yet. Flashpoint Beyond, though.
Yeah.
Flashpoint Beyond was super fire. That was a strong ending to that title. Yeah, I definitely have already followed a lot of stuff. It looks like, but yeah, we had a Rip
so
Hunter.
Excited for those 13.
Yes. So we'll get to that. That was literally the last page of the book. So the last issue ended with Rip Hunter finally showing up, like, and clearly squaring off against Bruce Wayne about what's happening. And this starts off right there. We find out that Rip's been doing his Rip Hunter stuff, and he's figured out that Batman has come to their time vault, and he got a hold of Dr. Manhattan's snow globe and his watch because the tachyon particles that are in there are strong enough to salvage and house the Flashpoint universe, because he doesn't want to let his dad go. He doesn't want to see his dad just be non-existent anymore. And Rip is explaining to him that's extremely volatile. You can destroy so much more than you can even fathom by trying to do this. And it kind of all hinges on the events happening in that Flashpoint world. And Bruce is certain that he knows his dad well enough that his dad will make the correct actions. Because none of this, Thomas doesn't know any of this is happening. He doesn't realize that his actions can cause the universe to go and like just cataclysm kind of thing. So Rip and Batman are having a fight. Rip wants to shut it down and just destroy it. Batman knows that Thomas will make the right call. And long story short, Thomas does. And it was a really cool fight. It was a really cool confrontation. So the Flashpoint universe is in existence now. It is there. It is going to proceed. We found out, Martha was a clockwork killer because she was able to see behind the veil and start putting things into motion and was just wanting to take advantage of this technology and the time travel stuff to get their son back. And, Thomas did the right thing and said no and shut her down. And then at the end of it, they let Bruce go, and Rip and his little Corky are walking through the vault and everything and looking at some of the stuff that we didn't see. Not everything is perfect because there are 13 vaults in there that had people in them, and all 13 of those people are gone. And it had the name of each of them, and they're all names that we've never seen in comics before until that page. And we found out today, Ryan, that those are the lost children from the Golden Age, the lost sidekicks that are about to just show back up, and there's going to be a whole mystery of who are you, where'd you come from, and why were you taken out of your time? Like, why doesn't anyone remember you? What happened to you? And that's what's going to be the primary focus of the Golden Years, or is Golden Years or Golden Age?
Golden Age.
The Golden Age, the Justice Society, and the Stargirl, the Lost Children miniseries, primarily focused in the Stargirl stuff. So Jeff Johns was really springboarding what's about to happen, and we see how they actually come back. We just found out they've been in the Hyper Time Vault.
That certainly explains why y'all have constantly said this feels like it's connected to something bigger, possibly Dark Crisis, but you definitely alluded to the idea. It feels like it's connected to something bigger, so it sounds like this is your answer on that.
Well, it hit on a lot of notes. It definitely connected to the Dark Crisis in the early issues, like directly, like they were hiding out from the Crisis. Psycho Pirate was there escaping the Crisis, and Psycho Pirate's presence is what gave Martha the information she needed, pieces of the information she needed to start creating the time sphere that she had. And then on top of that, we did get Dr. Manhattan-esque stuff. We got a snow globe. We actually got him in the pages and like a couple of the issues. Like him existing is what gave Bruce the ability to even salvage the Flashpoint world, And now this was the lead-in for the Justice Society stuff that's coming.
And they also ended with a new character who is kind of like Ozymandias sort of thing, and they talked about this other character, which is called the Watcher, right?
The Watcher, yeah, I remember that. I didn't, because they even had a little cat like Ozymandias did.
Right.
So it looked like they're leading into more Watchmen stuff even.
Yeah, Jeff Johns has confirmed that the Watcher is the kid from Doomsday Clock who has Dr. Manhattan's powers.
That's that little kid? What?
Yeah.
So I wonder when something else of that's going to pop up.
In 6 issues in 2 years.
I'd come, yeah. Andy Ryan. We're getting back to the allegedly conversations with Jeff. But yeah, they what was that cat's name? Bobastis or something?
Yeah.
But yeah, this character right here.
Yep. Well, the Watchman, not the Watcher. The Watchman. I was thinking of
the Watchman.
That Marvel garbage.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking of. So the Watchman. But yeah, Jeff Johns did confirm that that's who the Watchman is.
So that kid at the end of Watchmen, that wasn't a little boy? Or in the Doomsday Clock?
Yeah, he had Dr. Manhattan's powers, if I remember.
This is a female.
Right.
Welcome to 2022.
She's not the Watchman. She's.
Oh, yeah, she said we have to find the Watchman. I got you. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, dude, that's going to be dope. I'm glad that they're not letting that die. Remy Q Studios is going to be pumped to know that. Dude, he's one of the few people I know that legitimately love Doomsday Clock.
Wow.
It was good. I don't care what anyone says. Doomsday Clock was fire. That got me back into pulling monthlies. Just how ironic between Immortal Hulk and Doomsday Clock. That's what. And there's never been a more inconsistent release of a comic book in the history of comic books than Doomsday Clock, and that
that got you on the schedule. You're like, there's got to be a better way. I'll just pull books every month so that I just happen to be there when it shows up.
Yeah, I even went ahead and bought it on a digital copy on Google Books or whatever it's called because I wanted to read it immediately before I could even get to the shop.
Did you ever read Black Adam #5?
No, it's right here too, man. I'm sorry.
I told you, man.
If you want to talk about it, you can. Well, you told me to read Superman, and I put it to the top of my stack, and it messed up my entire reading order.
Sounds like it.
It did. It really
but
did.
I was also right about making you move that up, so I don't feel bad.
That's like that was it for me right there. I read that. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done for the day. That was it.
All right, before we get to that, did you read We Only Find Them When They're Dead 14?
Nope.
This one was pretty good. Penultimate issue.
It's Halloween. I haven't read Punisher. Power Rangers. We only find them when they're dead. Penguin. I got a lot I have to read. That.
I'm still like 2 or 3 issues. Well, I think I only have Aquaman, Andromeda, and then this week Catwoman, Lonely City dropped. So I have those 2, but I think I got everything else. We only find them when they're dead. 14, pretty solid. This one like answered a ton of questions from this arc, and I get the impression the next issue is going to answer pretty much all the questions from like the whole series. Everything that's remaining to be tied up. But this issue basically told us where Thierry 9 came from. It explained the ghosts in his head. It explained everything that's happened in the last like 2 issues with the assassination of Bristow and his daughter turning on him. Like, this issue was just like full of answers. It was a full issue. I really enjoyed it. Really solid read.
It has to be. There's only one more issue of the entire comic series left.
They also, it's really cool because they kind of, I don't know, like there's a statement in there that kind of touches on like, I guess like the modern world, like real life, and like where society kind of is right now. And it was like, more of those like philosophical things, but like, I was just like, yeah, like that's kind of where we're at. Like, essentially people saw a man become a god.
Yeah, Chaos, you missed it. You're going to have to catch the rewind.
Yeah, that was definitely at the 13-minute and 52-second mark.
Yeah, we got into it.
Yeah.
Went deep.
And
we covered it from A to Z.
I read this book called Lovesick #1. I don't know if either of y'all even like was on your radar. Don't bother. And then this book called Damn Them All. Did y'all check this out?
I did not.
What about you?
Didn't hit my radar either.
I feel like this might be on like Paul's order that like comes in late or whatever.
I think actually I do have. I think it is. It's on my monthly that I get. My monthly.
Yeah, this book was fire. This was fire. This is that book the solicit is kind of promising like a new Constantine. Well, sports metaphor out of the park. Wow. Like, this character is awesome. Like, they were kind of comparing it to like Erica Slaughter and Constantine. Like, forget Erica Slaughter. Like, that is a pop culture thing. Like, this character is very Constantine. Like, essentially the theme of the book is like magic is all about who can be the bigger bastard. And like, she goes in, man. She walks around with a claw hammer and just like beats people's skulls in. She's trying to like catch these demons. It starts out with this great setup with her uncle teaching her magic. And he's like an occultist. Like, he's just like the best occultist in the area, like in this like sub community,
That's the same guy who did the Suicide Squad Blaze series. That was a really good writer.
Yeah. He was also doing the Coda backup story that was in Detective that moved to the subplot.
And real quick, if anyone's looking for dating for all tastes and all ages, look no further. We've got the answer for you right here. Appreciate that.
Chaos was the last one. That book with all the colors and the 3 people who like mind melded over the alien. Is it Alienated? I think that's what it was called. I'm pretty sure he did that, and that book was fire as well. But yeah. Damn Them All. Check it out. This book was really cool, and this is definitely a more Constantine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that book was solid too. Damn Them All. Like, I see a lot of potential in this for people. For people that enjoy like Constantine and more like that gritty, no F's given sort of attitude and a magic-based character, like, this book was fire. I enjoyed it. It was one of those books, like, I read it through the first time and I was like, okay, I definitely missed stuff, but not because it was poorly written, because it was constructed that way, And so I immediately went back and read it again. I was just like, oh my God, like now all of these things at the beginning of the book make so much sense now that I know where it ends. It was a really good book. Probably my read of the week, to be honest. And action, we're about to talk about that, and that book was fire as well. So, yeah. Go grab Damn Them All.
You know that about you.
That's the chaos part of chaos and comics.
Right.
You got any other ones this week? Because I got one more left, so I'm just trying to save it.
No, yeah, I think that catches me up all the way to action.
Mm-hmm.
You too, Paul?
Yep.
Boom.
Yes, and the
Eight
gorgeous
covers.
Steve Beach covers as well. I love this guy. I don't know
Yeah,
where
it's such a minimalist cover in its way, but it really pops.
I love this his style. He's got that old school, just like those chubby cheeks on him and stuff.
Like Superman does
wild.
look a little. He looks a little constipated, but
Right.
I would say focus, but that's just me.
Are you not focused when you're constipated?
For some people, there's no difference.
Yeah, we.
That's what it takes.
It's Tom King, so I definitely read that. Issue 2 drops Tuesday for Gotham Year 1. That was I enjoyed it. It was like it's like the Gotham version of the Lindbergh Baby, so it's just sure
It's on
did.
your pull list.
Action Comics. Pop said it reminds him of Corbin. He's talking about Richard Corbin. Right? Richard Corbin, who did like the old fantasy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Action Comics 1048. This one, Ryan actually told me Tuesday. He's like, hey, I know you're behind, but check out Action Comics. I'm like, should I? Or should I just read it all in order? He's like, I don't know. You probably will want to check out Action Comics. So he told me that the New Gods are back. I'm like, done. I'm going to check out Action Comics. And it delivered. It delivered big time. So it kicks off with Metallo, who's obviously about to be a big deal. I don't know if he's going to be a big deal in this Kal-El return stuff or if they're about to save him for after 1050 because we're way too close to 1050.
Yeah.
Because they're really building him up here. So he's got a new body against his will. He didn't ask for it, but he's just sitting here in the jail, and Lex comes to see him. And he's got a brand new body, and Lex is like telling me, I got a power source I can give you. He's got that orphan box and everything, which now that the New Gods are back, how cool of a connection to be made. We got mother boxes, orphan boxes. Like the source of this thing's power and what an orphan box is really starting to get like its first little Easter eggs of how old it is and how potentially powerful it is. Because I never made the connection to anything going on War World with the New Gods, not one bit. And now it sounds like it all makes sense. But anyway, Lex Luthor's coming, trying to solicit Metallo to come like be his right hand man, kind of thing. Metallo ain't having none of it. He's content with being in jail, not being bothered by anything anymore. He's just whatever. And Lex kind of pulls the Lex card and points out, like, you act like you don't care about anything, but I know your sister comes to visit you every week, and that's the bottom line. And before you know it, Lex gets mad and walks out on that note. And we see that Lois has taken the two Philosians. Is that how you say it? Philosians?
Yeah. Philosians.
The two Philosians that came home from War World, and take them to the zoo to show them just some culture about the planet Earth, some of the animals, just to teach them, and just learn how to interact and their perspective of what.
Like, so it's a prison or a research lab?
It's a prison. Bad animals go there so that people can shame them.
Exactly. And she takes them there, and they meet up with Bibbo.
Yep.
Bilbo, and they're hanging out, just doing their thing.
Bilbo Baggins just hanging out.
Bilbo Baggins, and Clark is hanging out in space. Looks like he's just cleaning up debris, doing his thing, and he notices something off in the distance, and it catches his attention.
He says, "That's not a star."
That's not a star. And then you hear the very famous ping that always precedes the boom, and the boom tube opens, blows everyone back, and not just Orion, but Desaad and Calabac walk through. So we do have an absent Darkseid still. So Orion is clearly running Apocalypse. Darkseid is who knows where, because like the whole events of Dark Crisis take place before all the stuff that's going in current continuity right now. That's all like pre-current continuity story. So we know Darkseid's tied up with that over there, but I wonder for how long or what's going on with him. How long the Great Darkness stuff will drag out beyond that. But Orion's in charge, deciding Calabac and him to come here looking for the great power source that Clark squandered on Warworld to free everyone. And they start fighting with Bibbo. He actually gets a hit in on Calabac, and it's accompanied by a massive laser because Clark shows up right at the same time Metron pulls up. Like, it's gotten really serious. Like, you've got like some heavy hitters here. And they start explaining to Clark he has no clue what he actually did by releasing that power source and waking up an ancient deity that they've been watching closely to keep it asleep. That Warworld served a bigger function than anyone ever knew. It wasn't just some planet ran by a psychopath with a bunch of slaves. It was a prison for this thing that was sleeping. This ancient deity that could destroy.
Fire of Olgrin, right?
Yes,
Yeah, exactly. The fire, which is interesting because you have not only the orphan box, which is connecting to the new gods, but obviously this fire of Olgrin somehow has some connection to the fourth world as well.
Yeah,
exactly. It's all tying back into that. So they're mad that Clark took the fire, and they think that he physically took it, but they realize that he put it inside that child to save his life. So they want the kid to come back with them, and Clark ain't having it.
Yeah. Well, they specifically identify him as a new god now, right? Aren't they like, yeah. They're like, once you put the fire in him, he is now one of us. Therefore, he belongs with us. So that's kind of an upgrade.
Yeah. And it was cool because when that moment, it really got me, that moment when Orion doesn't ask, he tells, and he's saying the kid's coming with us, and Clark immediately has flashbacks of when Jor-El came to get John as a kid. And that's like one of Clark's biggest regrets, and he just looks at Orion, over my dead body. And Orion reaches for the kid, and it goes real south because Clark lays a haymaker on him and busts his masks and everything, dude. He leveled him, and then Orion just screams, "Take him!" Like he's not giving up. Calabac, Orion, they're all going for it, and that's pretty much where we end the issue with the new gods fighting Superman over the newest new god and the power that's inside of him, because they want him to go back and I'm assuming put this thing back to bed. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what their intentions are with getting the kid. I mean, like I said, they kind of identify, that he's now a new god, therefore he belongs with them. So I'm assuming they're trying to make him into a new god. I don't know enough about the new gods to know exactly what all that entails, but it seems like to me right now, so far, it seems like they want to take him and teach him to be a new god, versus kill him and put the power back to sleep or whatever.
They said he's like Olgrim's heir now.
Yeah. It almost sounds like they're going to worship him now or something.
Yeah, Olgrim was the god of gods, is what they call him, the literal god of gods. So this has got a lot of ramifications that have not played out yet that I'm excited to see. Again, this seems like such a heavy plot point
to be introducing right before a celebration issue.
To be introducing right now. Well, granted, we have the next son of Kal-El, 17, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have 17 and 18 and 49. We have 3 issues left of this story arc before we hit 1050, which I doubt they're going to cap it in 1050. I'm assuming they'll cap it before 1050 because traditionally those kind of books are
just like
a bunch of creators doing short stories. You know what
anthology.
I mean?
Right.
Yeah, anthology.
In the promotional art because Action Comics is changing as of 1051.
Yeah,
it's going to have 3 different stories in each issue, and the promotional, and it's supposed to be focused on the super family.
Yes,
and the promotional art for 1051, it had Kal-El, it had Jonathan, it had Kara, but it also had those 2 children with the Superman emblem as well. So obviously, it's something that's going to go beyond just 1050.
Yeah, I wonder how much with this new god stuff is though. Because with them this heavily invested, this is going to have to play out.
I kind of suspect we're going to get an inflection point in 1050 Whether that's just like a short snippet and part of a larger anthology, or that is the issue. I kind of imagine that like the New Gods are going to kind of retreat for the moment to figure out what their next move is. Clark is going to take the kid and try to like hide him and protect him or something. And that's what the next 3 issues that we have leading to 1050 are going to be, is kind of them avoiding each other. Maybe that's how we get all the like Lex Luthor, Metallo stuff going. And we deal with that for 3 issues. And then the New Gods show up in 1050 again. And they're like, no, this time we are going to take the kid. So like,
There also is that one shot special too that they're doing, though, the return of Kal-El, right?
I wasn't aware of that one.
Mm-hmm.
So like we got basically 4 issues.
There's a backup story called Red Moon in here as well, where we have Chattel, however you say that the Gimp from World War. That one too. The Gimp from World War is on Earth and is trying to execute a plan that he has used previously in other worlds, where he goes inside under the Earth's core and hatches a monster to devour it from the inside out as a means of taking out the populace. And they've been discovered by Tallow and Supergirl. So that fight's going down as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed that story purely for the fact that they actually kind of establish there were werewolves in Dragon Ball, I'm sure. In that backup story, I like how they established that like Chetil is like a force to be reckoned with, that he's not just some lackey or some gimp as we saw in the War World saga. Like there's a reason he is who he is. And, you know, like it was really cool for them to basically be like, yo, like he has the longest chains in the galaxy. So like now people die for him. He doesn't have to do the dying. So I was like, yeah, that kind of establishes why he's significant in all this.
It seems like unnecessary backup story. I don't need him, to be honest with you.
I don't need it, but they have to have some kind of content for 3 storylines and Action Comics plus a Superman plus another book. What was the other
what they did with the last one. They brought in Conduit from the 90s. They brought an old 90s villain back. That was pretty fun. So this could be fun too. I like the art. It reminded me heavily of Superman Space Age. It was not the same artist. I did check. But I definitely like the art in it. Definitely cool.
I enjoyed this. I thought it was a great issue overall. And the backup story wasn't like anything to write home about, but it served a good purpose.
Super Sons. Did you watch that movie by any chance, Ryan? Paul, yeah. So this was a special one right here. Like I had a ton of fun watching it. It was paced well, with a lot of action, and the art style in it and the animation style was the first time they'd ever done something like this, and it was smooth. I was quickly sold on it.
Yeah, I agree. For those of you who don't know, it was written by Jeremy Adams, the guy who writes The Flash and was part of the creative team on Flashpoint Beyond. He really gets how to write parents and children. He just, and I'm sure it comes from, obviously he has at least 2 kids himself. But there were some other lines too. Like I love one of my favorite lines was just like, "What does that smell?" Gotham City.
Gotham City, yeah. Yeah, the plot was pretty cool. It starts off like with what we've seen 1,000 times before, with the destruction of Krypton and him being jettisoned into space. But for the origin of this of Starro, he hitched a ride and falls off in space. That's how he got off Krypton. Standard plot, like Starro's attaching himself to people taking over the world. But this time we find that it's Jonathan and Damian that are the ones that have to put a stop to it. And Lois is doing her thing as well. You get some awesome action scenes. Like the fighting in this is next level. A great cast of characters. It was just fun. It really was. The banter between the two of them was great. This is the first time that we've seen Jonathan inside of the DC animated movies. And this movie does not take place in the current continuity timeline, because they do like the ongoing continuity in the animated, but they also do offshoots. This was one of the offshoots. And Damian was awesome, because there's this scene when they're in the Fortress of Solitude and Jarrell lights up and he's talking to him, and you always have like this like respect, this reverence that goes to Jarrell, and Damien's just cutting him off. He's like, all right, whatever, and just shutting him off, and just, he just does not care at all. It was cool. Even had some crypto in there.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they went back to the 70s and 80s where you had that huge golden key that you had to use to open up the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, and he can't fly, so he's having to throw it. Yeah,
Yeah,
God.
it's like,
He's
and it's
"Good,
like now we have to
to
turn it.
It was good. Yeah, I think Mario is going to be fun. To your point, that trailer has me excited as well. I'm not as far as I went with Mario was in the Nintendo 64, but me and the wife and the kids when we saw Black Adam the second time, the kids saw it. They thought it looked funny. They were laughing at the trailer. The little penguins. Monkey had about 5,000 questions. They live there. What are they doing? Did they get hurt? Is he the bad guy? Is he mean? The whole trailer.
My household is very Mario oriented, so my 4-year-old, she loved it. She thought it was awesome. She's like, "Oh, that's Bowser!" And he's like blowing fire. She's like, "Oh, he's so mean."
It looks cool. Well, I ain't got nothing else. Y'all got anything y'all want to hit on before we dip out? A lot of news that came out this week, but it's all pretty much stuff.
Might be. Man, okay, so check this out, right? So doing research this week, I was like, oh, I need to read some Marvel books. So I did the Marvel Unlimited thing, right? And honestly, the reading experience is better than the DC Universe reading experience. Not by much, like 10, 15% better. It's just smoother, like the panel transitions or the page turns are smoother. Like noticeably, you can feel it. It feels smoother. That being said, their search system is absolute garbage. Like literally, I just had to go back to Google and search for the books I was looking for and then just use the Google search results to get to what I wanted to read. I was like, this is miserable. You type in anything and it just gives you, it just gives you movie stuff. And then once you sort past all the movie stuff, then it's like whatever the newest comic is, right? So specifically, I'm looking for Black Panther from 2005. Well, it only wants to show me Black Panther comics in 2022 and then chronologically sorted going lower and lower and lower. It was miserable. I could not believe that's how their search system was set up. But yeah, the panel, the reading experience, once you actually get into the book you're looking for, it does feel smoother. It reads better, but I definitely enjoy the community aspect and the search system that the DC Universe stuff has a lot better. So that's kind of my quick review of Marvel Unlimited versus DC
The only thing
Universe.
I've read comics 3 different ways digitally, and one is the DC app way, which there's multiple ways to read it on there, like the page by page or the panel by panel, which I'm typically on a tablet that's the size of a book, so I'm just going page by page. And then there's just the vertical thing you can do on different sites, Yeah. But then my favorite one is still the Google Books or whatever it's called. And it's just called Google Books, the app. That is
Google Play Books or whatever.
Yeah, that is absolutely my favorite, my absolute favorite, because the panel by panel ones on there, when you're doing it, the actual word bubbles lift up higher, where you make it a little bit bigger as you go. And then when you're turning the page, you actually see the page come up and stuff. It feels smooth, and you can peek at the next page and close it.
Yeah.
That's always been my favorite.
Yeah, been there, done that. You're just like, oh, yeah. I know where we're going next. All right. Yeah. Now, typically, I read on a desktop in a standard computer browser, and so that's my experience on both of those. The thing I don't like about the DC Universe app, whenever I'm reading, when you flip pages, it switches to the next page, and then the screen will go black for an instant, and then the image comes back. And it's like, oh yeah, that's one way to really kill the vibe. Whereas reading Marvel Unlimited on their website and stuff, I had no problem. Switching pages, moving pages and stuff was really buttery smooth. It just moves. It feels good.
I've never tried to switch from the landscape to the vertical. I haven't done that. Again, I read it on a bigger tablet. Today I
Yeah.
did read that Gotham Knights video game prequel.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting at work just waiting on the phone to ring kind of thing. I was looking at the app to see what was different, and I saw that was on there, and I don't think that's out yet on physical, is it? Didn't that come out
The
Tuesday?
Gotham Knights. I thought that came out this past week.
Might have. I don't know, but it's on there pretty quick with the Ultra, and yeah, I read that. It was, to be honest with you, it was stupid. It was super stupid. Half of the book was really cool. Half the book couldn't have been more stupid if it tried. They're dealing with people raging on FOMO.
Hmm.
Yeah, they there's a new restaurant with the best food, and people are fighting to get in. Something's making them fight to get inside, and they want to take pictures of the food. And when they do, they pass out because they're exhausted from fighting, or they're at a video game store trying to buy a game. Or I'm like, dude, this is so dumb. This is so dumb. But you're dealing with a flashback also back to the 1800s in Gotham. That was actually pretty intriguing. That has me completely interested. I just want a book about that though. I don't.
You're going to be buying Justice League so you can read Justice League Dark again.
The 1800 story was cool. Comixology is the best of me. I've never read a single book on there. I don't think I've ever even been on the website Comixology.
Yeah, the Comixology reading experience is really good. I actually just bought the Stormwatch book on there, so I've been reading on that this last week as well, and it's really good.
I know what you mean. I know what chaos means. When, if you get an error, you get Batman the Animated Series Alfred sitting there with a smug look on his face and said, "Oops."
Oops.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot if I have a bad signal somewhere. I think that's the only time it's happened to me. Ryan agrees.
Yeah.
Gotham Knights, the game came out this week. Oh, cool.
The other thing I didn't like about searching through Marvel's stuff to try to read, like on Marvel Unlimited, when you search, it comes up with like the character, and then it'll have like all their movie stuff, MCU stuff, blah, blah, blah. You get past that, you get to the comics, you click on a comic to read, and it has a bigger button to buy the comic individually. And then next to that is a slightly smaller button that's like read with unlimited. And you're like signed in to unlimited, so it doesn't make any sense that there's even an option to buy the book, other than they're trying to get you to buy the book that you should technically already have the right to read because it's on unlimited. But in some cases, it actually is not. Some books are not on there, and so it will say like, oops, this isn't available on unlimited, but you can buy it for $2.99 or whatever.
Do you know what their time frame is? Like how with Ultra it put everything to 1 month or 3 months?
Yeah, basically they were beating DC because it was a 6 month and 3 month, and so DC kind of upped the ante by going to just 1 month. So that was like their big jump.
And when DC was inconsistent as well, you have some titles that would get there faster, some titles that wouldn't. But I know what you mean. Like their standard was 6 months, and you still have stuff that's digital first with DC, or like same time.
Well, but they also Marvel does have I think they're called Infinite Comics or something, and those are literally direct to the unlimited service, and they come out like day and date once a week. You get those, and they're vertical scroll comics, so they're built kind of like webtoon comics and stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't read them. It advertises mostly Scotty Young. Scotty Young's a big name they push on that Infinite comic thing, and you see like a vertical scroll with like Iron Man is like little chibi Iron Man and all that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm out. But they do mention at one point I saw on there that like Jonathan Hickman has a Infinite comic on there and stuff. So it sounds like they do have like other creators. It's not all just like little kid stuff, Scotty Young style.
There, so $60 a year for unlimited, and $99 a year for the DC app. 3 months to 1 month.
Worth noting though,
Lowe's had both of them for a long time, and he said Infinite got him back with Ultra, the best content. Dude, I haven't done the Marvel one, but there's I mean both these companies have been around doing what they do for a long time. There's really no way to really up what DC's doing. All you can do is your version of it at this point.
But here's the thing. Marvel actually one-upped what DC did with Ultra like a month before, but nobody talked about it that I heard of. because they actually have a $99 annual tier, and when you sign up for it, you get like 2 comics and a like action figure sent to you.
That's super dope.
And they
I
unlocked
just meant
that
in
thing
terms
back in
of
like
I just
September,
meant
like
in terms
September
of
19th or something.
I just meant in terms of amount of content that they have, like a wide variety, and like you know what I mean, like. And
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like again, like I don't know what Marvel's doing, but you said the searching thing is crap. But the way that Infinite's set up with storylines, you can search by creators' names and just like it's formatted so well. You find whatever you want really easily, and then
Yeah.
things that you didn't know you wanted to read, and then you're looking at it like, which one do I push first?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, I haven't spent enough time on Marvel Unlimited to really compare, as far as like actual content and stuff. But what I have seen thus far, like DC has definitely outdone them content wise.
Oh, I
But
agree.
there's probably a lot of stuff on Marvel I haven't even read yet. So who knows?
Yeah, I agree with this with Chaos. 99 is worthless without the 1 month thing. I absolutely agree. The 1 month and then the little exclusive thing that they give you back. But you don't have to buy the $99 tier. You can buy their lower tier.
But then you're on 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, but that's the thing. If you're just reading it for like back issues and stuff like that, or trade reads and all that, yeah, you definitely can get the cheaper option and still have more content than you'll know what to do with.
See, I don't know. Like to me, like, and maybe it's just because I'm
Direct
more
search
familiar.
does not suck on DC one bit. I use that feature like all the time on there. I go
I was
directly
gonna
to
say,
it
like,
every single time.
that's the thing is like, and yeah, his next comment, I'm sure Marvel Unlimited is going to do something soon to catch up, but literally, like the Marvel search is awful. Whereas, like, and maybe it's because I'm more familiar with the DC universe, but I love their search. I think it is phenomenal. Anything I type in, it shows me everything I need to know, like that. Like, okay, for instance, on the Marvel Unlimited app, if I search for Black Panther, right, the first search result is pretty much always like the character profile. And if you click on that and you read through it, it gives you a character profile as if it's talking about it through continuity, right? So it's basically telling you like Black Panther did this and this happened and this happened, but it feels like you're going through the actual comic continuity of that character. Not a single hyperlink so that you can be like, oh, that sounds like a cool jumping on point for me. Let me click that and just open the book up in Marvel Unlimited. Like not a single hyperlink anywhere. I'm like, why would anybody just want to like sit here and read through this whole character biography? Why wouldn't you link in all of your Marvel Unlimited books so people reading this could go, now I'm excited about Black Panther. Let me click this button and just start reading what you're talking about. Seems kind of like a missed opportunity. I feel like DC, their search, like they come up with a character and like it takes me no time at all to find reading orders and different sagas and different storylines, as well as like popular series and things like that.
It's very vast. Both of them are, I'm sure. I just did what he said, but I didn't type Morrison Batman. I just did Morrison. I just searched Morrison, and there's all of his series.
Mm-hmm.
These are the series, not individual books, including Batman that's on there that you have a hard time searching Chaos. It's one word search. And then everything else, every other series that he touched. Those are all his series.
I tried Black Panther. I tried Black Panther 2005, Black Panther parentheses 2005 to 2008, Black Panther Volume 4, Black Panther Volume 5, Black Panther issue number 4, and like none of that got me what I was looking for in the search results. I literally went to Google and typed in Black Panther comics 2005 to 2008. The first search result was Marvel Unlimited. That book, I clicked on it and it opened up. I was like, why did I have to go back to Google to do this?
I know it might be the familiarity thing too, finding the tricks to the trade to do it. Yeah, I doubt I'll ever. I don't want to say ever, but I doubt anytime soon I'll try Comixology or Marvel Unlimited. And just I don't have time to even read the books I pick up.
Yeah,
I hate when it gets like that. I'm typically pretty decent about staying up. It's been a busy past couple weeks, man.
It has. Yeah. I mean, I'm in the
Today was
same boat.
Mom's
I'm still 2
birthday.
books behind, but
Today was my mom's birthday too, and then tomorrow's Halloween, and I don't
and
know.
I'll definitely be working the Marvel Unlimited stuff this week. So I'll report back next week if maybe I figured out how to make it work better for me.
We'll see. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up if y'all are good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about all I have.
Search parentheses Mark in DC. You want me to search my name in parentheses? I'll screenshot my results and send them to you, Chaos. Until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we're Legion.